this is Carmen. I'm here with Jenny Powell, and we're here in at Jenny's house in Powerstown Road.
Yes.
And we're sitting here in front of a beautiful
Porter cabin.
3.5 acres of land, and all that's missing is all the wonderful animals.
Yeah, well, they're down in trim at the moment.
So the animals are down in trim right now?
Yeah, the horses and goats, yeah.
How many horses do you have?
Well, there's the mother and the daughter. But I've let the friend of Brendan have the daughter. Brendan's looking after the mare because his friend horse. And we thought it would be better if she kept him company. Nice. And Brendan has a Shetland pony and a donkey and my horse. And we put my horse's daughter around with his friend who had nobody.
Wow.
We thought it was better.
So Jenny, tell me about when you were a little girl. How did you become disabled, and how did you ride ponies?
Well, somebody loosed my fingers on the stairs, and I jumped down 12 stairs. Wow. I think my father must have been working at Buckingham Palace at the time because that's where it was, down the back stairs.
Palace?
Yes.
Okay.
And I fell down the stairs. Well, I jumped and I smashed my ankle and dislocated it.
How old were you?
About 3.
3 years old?
Yeah.
And then you remember that? You
yes.
remember all of that?
Oh, I do, yeah, very much so, because the pain was so bad I had a stroke.
Wow.
And I got paralysis all down the left side.
Wow.
And so the Queen Mother, she knew my adopted grandaunt, who used to be in charge of a hospital for sick officers in her parents' house during the First World War. When she was only 14, she remembered her. So she asked my father to find out. And my father said, oh, that's my mother's foster mother. Oh, says the Queen Mother, right, the child's going there. So they put me in a big black limousine, and I was driven through Hyde Park and Kensington Gardens down to Barnes, where she was living with her sister, who was a teacher. And she massaged my limbs for years.
Wow.
And she got me, I was riding horses, I was walking, I was swimming, I was dancing.
Wow. But not immediately.
No, over the years.
Yes, yes.
But even when I couldn't walk very well, I was able to scramble up on a pony and ride. Right. I could ride and drive a horse from 5 and 6 and 7 years old.
No?
My father was a drunken inventor.
A what?
He was a bit of a drunken inventor.
A drunken inventor?
Yeah, he used to beat me.
He used to beat you?
Yeah.
Why?
Oh.
You just used to
said I was disobedient and I did this and I did that. Oh.
Did he beat your other sisters and brothers?
Not as much, no. I only had sisters at the time. When I was staying with Granny and Auntie down the country at Granny's school, yeah. My mother's adopted mother's school, like a foster mother's school.
Yeah.
That was all right. Okay, I got hit occasionally because I was a brat.
Yes.
But Auntie was brilliant, golly, and she was teaching me how you deliver baby children and how you look after premature children when I was only 12 years of age.
Wow.
I used to ride horses around Gloucestershire, Charfield in Gloucestershire.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. We used to go blackberry picking during the war.
Wow.
Picking blackberries so that Auntie could make blackberry pie. Because the rationing. So she'd make the dough for the pies. We'd go, a whole gang of us would go out and pick the blackberries for her to cook and put in the pies.
Wow. And this was during the war?
During the war, yes, during the war.
So you were in Charfield in Gloucestershire?
Charfield in Gloucestershire, yes.
And your grandmother?
Oh, she had the school. And Auntie was the nurse, trained nurse, the one that knew the Queen Mother.
Ah, okay. And she's the one who massaged your feet?
Yes, my legs, my arms and leg, my arm and my leg.
Wow. And she'd massage you and she'd teach you about
various things. Yes.
Various things to be
and she said, if you have broken hip or split hip, you must mend it immediately, otherwise it doesn't heal. And I told these stupid twits in Conley that I had a split hip and they should be mending it.
Yeah.
And they didn't. They left me unable to walk.
Wow.
She was in charge of a hospital for sick officers in the house of the Queen Mother's parents during the First World War.
Yes.
And she saved a lot of people, that soldiers and that went into this hospital. Auntie saved many of them.
Very good. So she was,
She was
very good with you. She helped.
Oh,
you
want
were
after the
basically-
First World War, King George V commended my grandaunt, my adopted grandaunt.
Oh,
Oh, highly commended her
wow.
for work she did.
Wow.
And then she got married in her 40s and went out to Australia and had to go out into the bush and deliver babies.
Wow.
And she worked as a midwife there,
Okay.
yes. And she had all her Australian certificates as well as her English certificates when she
Okay.
died. They were in a box.
So did she stay in Australia after that?
No, she didn't. Her husband died of cancer after 5 years.
Oh,
And when he died, she came back,
oh, she came back.
which was a pity because I think England's no good.
Yeah. So was she running the school in Jarfield, or was it?
No,
Mr. Granny?
Granny was running the school.
Oh, your granny.
And Auntie was a bit of a slave doing all the domestic, like like we had somebody to clean the place, but Auntie was doing the cooking,
Oh,
which was a very big, strange thing for a nurse,
yeah.
fully trained. But the only good thing was that if anybody had a child with any kind of difficulty, it was safer for it to go to Granny's school because Auntie was a trained nurse.
Very good.
And so all Granny had to say was, my sister's a trained nurse, that's all right. And so we had a couple of disabled children come to our school.
Okay.
And one child was in danger of bleeding to death if he cut himself.
Yes.
But of course with Auntie there, she'd know what to do, you see.
Wow.
So he came. That's how we came. That's how Duncan Foster came.
And that is all during the World War II.
This is World War II, yes.
So would they be coming up from London to school?
Oh yeah, all kids from London. We all went down in a big coach
Yes.
down to Charfield.
Okay.
And while we were there, we got a ginger cat, and I called him Weezer. And after the war, we took him back to London, and he hated it. And he went next door, and he didn't like it next door, so he went next door again, and he stayed with these people, and he lived to 26 and a half years.
Wow.
And I found the cat in the country as a kitten in a hedge many years later in Hampshire, and I brought her back to London, and she didn't like my other cats, and she didn't like me, so when she had her she had a third litter of kittens, she had 6, she bit the head off one, and I said, well, she doesn't like kittens, so we got her neutered, and once we got her neutered, she moved down the road to an elderly lady's house who owned her boyfriend, and she stayed there until the old woman was taken away to a hospital, and then her boyfriend Oliver went to stay with a lady who had a shop with underwear in the village it was the suburb where I lived, and Cheetah was brought back to me. She decided she didn't like it, so she went down the road to another friend of mine with 4 cats, and she stayed there for 2 years, and when she moved, she went round the corner to another place and stayed there. In the meantime, I moved, and I went back visiting from Ireland in, I think, was it 1985? I went back to the neighbourhood, and 2 ladies called me in to 2 brand new houses built on a bomb site. We've got your cat. And there was Cheetah. Cheetah was age 26, about 26 and a half.
And did Cheetah recognize you?
No, I told she wasn't bothered. I was told, we've got your cat. Well, I said, that's Cheetah. Yeah. So she lived that long. Do you know she used to cross a very dangerous road with loads of lorries, loads of cars and loads of buses, and go across to the common and hunt round the pond there. She used to go around where Sir Walter Raleigh used to put his cloak down for Queen Elizabeth I to walk on.
Oh, good.
Yeah. She always used to hunt there.